Hey, welcome to Running on Reddit. Zach here. We have stories from MaliciousCompliance. So, here in the UK, a 15 rated film means that you have to be 15 to see the film, no exceptions. Back a few years ago, we had two ticket types at my cinema, adult and child. It's been changed to incorporate a teen ticket. Child was under 15 and adult was anything 15 and above. This guy comes in with his mates, back of the queue to get in, but can be heard throughout the foyer being all loud and obnoxious. And the generalization I've found in my experience in the cinema is that if they're teens on their own and they're loud and obnoxious in the foyer, there's a high chance they'll be the same during the film and generally be a nightmare in the screen. I start to notice some other people in the queue looking over at him and rolling their eyes. I get the pleasure of serving this guy. He comes up to me, still shouting over at his mates, who are getting served by some of my colleagues, and asks for a ticket to see this 15 rated film. Can't remember which one, and it was just one of these low budget crappy horrors that have come out in their many sequels recently. Insidious or Sinister or Annabelle or whatever. He looks about 16 or 17 years old, but since he said a ticket, my work-life autopilot takes over as I ask how old he is so that I can sell him the correct ticket type. Him being the person he is, and probably since he's gotten away with it before, to get the cheaper ticket price, he said he was 14. The moment he said that, a massive grin comes over my face. Sorry mate, this film's a 15. Holding back my glee at not having to deal with this crap for the next 2 hours, I can't let you in. No amount of begging and pleading would make me budge. So he asks to speak with the manager. Manager comes down, sides with me, and he's on his way. Day ruined. Honestly, that guy did everyone in that theater a favor. I mean, if you got a bunch of loud, obnoxious teens, by all means, don't let it ruin the experience for other people. My parents were on vacation a few years back and hanging out at the hotel bar. This place was one of those places that was cheap, but everyone who stayed there thought they were better than everyone else. A couple, male and female, walked in talking about how nice and quaint the bar looked. They sat down at the table next to us. You were supposed to order your drinks at the bar, then sit down. But since it was a slow night, the bartender walked over and served them. Bartender: Hi, what can I get you? Male: What wines do you have tonight? Bartender reads off the wine list. Female: Ooh, a rose wine would be just perfect. Male: Make it 2. Bartender: Sure, that'll be $15. Male: We're going to open a tab. Bartender: Unfortunately, we don't do tabs here. You either have to charge it to your room or pay cash. The male throws his room card on the table and says, fine, charge it to that. They laugh as the bartender grabs the card and heads back to the bar. Bartender pours their drinks and brings them back over. The first thing they did was hold up the glasses. Female: These are rather small. Do you have any bigger glasses? Bartender: Unfortunately, those are the standard glasses. Male: Really? We're paying $7.50 a glass, and you're going to be chintzy on us? Surely you have bigger glasses, come on. Bartender, clearly annoyed: Okay, I'll go check. He went to the bar and came back out with 2 glasses that I think were supposed to be for margaritas, but were at least twice the size of the wine glasses. He held them up for them. Bartender: How are these? Female: Oh, those are perfect. Male: Yes, thank you. So, bartender puts the bigger glasses on their table, then takes the small glasses and dumps them into the bigger glasses. Bartender: Is there anything else I can help you with? They didn't say anything, just sat there dumbfounded. Bartender: Great. My parents and I start losing it. We tried not to laugh, but we were all a bit inebriated, I guess. Bartender looked over at us and smiled. My dad gave him an extra $10 tip and said, Thanks for the laughs. Don't mess with people who serve your drinks. That bartender knew his stuff. Honestly, that bartender seemed to go out of his way, He didn't have to go over, take their drink order. He seemed pretty nice with explaining everything to him. I don't know about the female, but the male seemed a little rough around the edges. So it's a good thing he politely put them in their place. So, I have worked in IT most of my life. One day, in a job I was in, it was slow, so the manager asked that I check the firewall logs for anything dodgy. Pretty soon, I find indications of a female staff member accessing some pretty racy content of the adult nature. This staff member had a reputation for blaming her slow productivity on her computer, network, mouse, etc., so she was given no quarter. I go up to the large office, where she is surrounded by many other staff members, but her monitors are facing a wall, and only she can see them. I politely asked to speak to her in private for a moment in a meeting room. Her response, "No, I don't have time, I'm too busy." Again, I quietly said it would be in her best interest to have this conversation discreetly. Her, "Look, stop wasting my time and say what you need to say." I pause, clear my throat, and say loud and clear, "Okay, the IT manager has asked that you stop accessing bondage content sites on your work computer." There's a moment of stunned silence where the staff member turned scarlet and everyone looked at her, including her manager. Me, "Okay, see you later." And I turned and left the office. That's a pretty great story. I mean, I don't know what you really expect to have happen, especially if you're, accessing racy sites while you're at work. Generally, you don't want to do that. Stay professional. So, this happened years ago when I was in high school, but I smile every time I think of it. My high school has a policy that anyone who has missed less than a certain number of school days could pick one class they had an A in to skip the final. You could get a couple extra days for college visits, but otherwise it was very straightforward. Awesome policy, and we all loved it. One year, we had this kid who was in 8th grade and had been diagnosed with cancer. He spent a lot of his year sick, getting treatment, going to the hospital, running to the bathroom to throw up, etc. Despite all this, he finished the year with an A in his Spanish class. It was his only high school class, so it was the only final he would have been able to skip. Administration was not going to let him skip the final because he had missed too much school. He and his parents asked them to make an exception, given the situation, but administration wouldn't budge. His teacher stood up for him, but was told this kid had to take the final no matter what. He had missed too many days and there would be no exception. The teacher said okay, but told her class not to study for, worry about, or exempt her final. Then, the first day all our students showed up for the final, she told them to take out a piece of paper and number it 1 to 3, leaving one line in between each number. She then asked 3 questions along the lines of, "What is your name? How do you say yes in Spanish? And how do you say hello in Spanish?" Then she collected the final. Everyone got a 100 that year, and she became a legend. The kid has been cancer-free for over 5 years now. This is a great story. It's very heartwarming, it's a good time, and that teacher, they did a good job. Personally, I've had experiences with, school administration. I am not a fan. They always seem to rub me the wrong way. I'm a great student, I was always a good kid and whatnot, but they didn't treat students very well. Anyway, let me know what your experiences have been with school administration. Have they been mostly positive, or do you have some interesting stories? I work as an administrative assistant at a major sporting goods retailer. Part of my job is to track attendance and regularly upload a report to corporate. My store manager just recently, in the last 2 years, got hired by our district manager, who she has been friends with for years. They managed to push out the old store manager, who had the store running like a ticking clock. Ever since then, it has become abundantly clear that she has no idea how to run the store, and we have all suffered for it. She constantly screws up the store schedule, bullies employees she doesn't like, and has hired incompetent friends to management positions. We all dislike her and think she should be fired, but it seems like everything she does in the store makes us look bad while making her look good, until recently. Like I said above, part of my job is tracking attendance, yet for years it has been common knowledge that those in my position are expected to fail to upload attendance records to corporate because the company's policies on attendance are extremely harsh and many employees fail to meet attendance due to factors out of their control. For instance, employees who come in before we open to process our freight often clock in late because the managers on duty take their sweet time opening the front doors for these employees. It is not their fault that they come in late, and on some occasions, certain employees have been left outside for upwards of 30 minutes after ringing our doorbell because the only person who could open the doors was busy or didn't hear the doorbell, which is soft. Anyway, if I should upload the attendance record to corporate, many of these employees would probably be fired on the spot by our regional manager through email because these things are automated and mandatory. As a side note, the store manager is one of the managers who likes to take 10 or 15 minutes to open the door for freight employees. We all hate her for this, because when it is winter, we have to wait those 10 or 15 minutes outside the door in the freezing cold, and she acts like it is no big deal. Anyway, her district manager friend recently moved to another district and we got a new DM who is looking to move up in corporate. To do this, she has to make all of our metrics look awesome, including attendance. She sent an email to our store manager demanding an attendance record. I told the store manager that this could get many employees fired, but instead of realizing the implications, she told me to run the report anyway. I tried to tell her that this could result in most of the employees who had availability before we opened, who are very valuable and rare, getting fired, and she completely blew me off. She literally went as far as saying that I was not thinking straight. I told her that she could adjust the attendance on her end, as the DM clearly wanted her to do. This has been common procedure due to the reasons for poor attendance. And she told me that she was the store manager, she would figure it out, and I should just do my job as I was told. So I ran the report and immediately got a furious email from the new district manager saying that I should have run the report by my store manager to adjust the records before uploading it to corporate. The next day, corporate sent out an automated email with the names of all the employees that should be fired, which is not an email that our manager could either respond to or contest. She had to fire all the employees on the email, and as it turned out, every single employee with availability before we opened got fired. 15 people, and every other employee in the store is a student with no ability to work before like 10 a.m. So there is nobody to process our freight, which is a massive job. I got an email from a friend in corporate yesterday that said the regional manager was lining up a replacement for our store manager due to incompetence. None of us are surprised. Honestly, the original poster didn't really have to go that far. It's nice of them to do it. This person already sounded like a treat to deal with. It was inevitable either way, but good news in the end, right? Click the playlist to see more stories. See you in the next video.